Hello friends, welcome to the Technical Point channel. This is Santosh Kumar. Today we will learn about how to create Spring Boot microservice and how to deploy it in my Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so first of all, we will create a Spring Boot microservice and then um, we will Dockerize it and uh, and then we will deploy this image in Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and I have already installed minikube in my Kubernetes local system. Okay, so first we will go to the creating Spring Boot microservice. Okay, so for this we will go to the Spring Initializer. I have already now started Spring Initializer, and then we will select the Java language and Maven as the build tool, and then here we will use group name as com.technical point. Here we will select the uh, as for example any project employee service. Okay, and we have selected the Java 17 as Java 17 is installed in my system, so I have selected 17 and packaging as jar, and for dependency we will select the web dependency. Okay, so just let's create it and let's generate the project. Everything is fine. Java 2.2 technical point. Okay, and then unzip it. And we will go to the IntelliJ area and then open the employee service. Okay, a new window. So I am using IntelliJ IDEA for editor and Java editor. You can use any editor, as for example Eclipse or IntelliJ IDEA or any other editor. Uh, okay, so I have imported this generated employee service in my IntelliJ IDEA, and then here first of all we will go to the we will have to uh, refactor application.yaml means application.properties to application.yaml. Okay. And here we will define the server port 900 7. Okay, so we have to define server dot port 907. uh, Actually, when we use Spring Boot microservice, and actually, uh, by default, the port is Tomcat port is 8080. But for removing the conflict with another project running on the same port, we have to define server column port, any port number according to our phone, but I have defined here 9007. Okay, now let's create the mm, controller for API. Employee controller. So I am creating just one API for sake of simplicity. Not don't I don't want to complicate it. Multiple APIs. Just I have to create uh, one API only, and I will generate the jar, and then create the image, and then deploy it. So 1 minute, explaining you 1 minute. First of all, I will have to create employee string name str result welcome to the Java first name return. First of all, we can print it. I'm explaining 1 minute. Just so for creating the API, we have created a employee controller, and first of all, we have to define REST controller. So if we write the @REST controller, then it will this class will behave as a REST plus controller. So REST as well as controller. So it will give the response and get the response in any form, and like if we can it can accept the request in the JSON or XML or any other form also, and also it will give the response in the JSON. Okay, by default it will give the response in JSON. And here request mapping is used for creating the context for this API. Okay, so I have provided the API as URI imp name slash name. Okay, so and so we are passing the name as a parameter. So path variable, you can say that. So generally we can use okay, first of all we have to use path variable for getting this path variable, this name. So we have to provide the name. Okay, uh, and here it is done, and application.yaml is also done. So let's run it. Huh. One more thing I want to tell you that here we have when we generated the project employee service. So employee it is the main entry point of the class, this project, and then here at the rate Spring Boot application is there. So if we it is automatically generated, but the meaning of this Spring Boot application is that it will when we write the at the rate Spring Boot application, it will automatically inject the dependencies and also automatically configure and all the dependencies and also the base package. Okay, so it will scan the base package and also configure the dependencies and also inject the dependency. Okay, so this is the main point, and here I have already explained that we have created one API get mapping, and here a imp name API so the context path for this employee control is we have defined slash employee and get mapping. Here we have provided the imp name and we are passing the path variable as name. So let's run it. So here you can see that Tomcat started on port number 9007, which is already we have mentioned. So actually, as you know that Tomcat default port is 80807, but suppose we have multiple projects and multiple microservice or projects microservices are running. Okay, and then there will be conflict between port. So therefore we have to provide that our own customized port so that it cannot be already in use. Okay, so that's why we have provided it, and Tomcat is started, server is started, and we will try. So we will go to this localhost http localhost colon 9007 slash employee java. So if we provided that like in Kubernetes, so whatever the parameter means path variable we have provided in URL, then it will be appended it will be appended to the welcome to the Java world. Okay, so like we have changed this, and then here also the result is coming with high also appending. So now it's done. API is created, and now we will have to move ahead. Okay, so everything is fine, and even also if we want to run from Postman, then it should also be done. Okay, let's run till Postman will be starting. We are going ahead. Okay, so here we can see that also the in the console also it is printing the result. Okay, so first of all it is uh, we have already run this project, but if we want to run it from outside, okay, means from from a console, or in Ubuntu we have the terminal, and in Windows we have the console. Okay, command prompt. So from there, we want to run this project from outside, from any editor like IntelliJ or anything we are using. We don't want that. So for this, we have to, first of all, we have to build it. So for building the project, we have to use it like npm clean install. This is the command to build. So first of all, it will try to build. So build is successful, and then when the build will be successful, then there is target folder. In target folder, there is a employee service dash 0.0.1 dash snapshot dot jar is created. Okay, and also if we want to run this project, okay, then um, mvn spring boot colon run. Okay, this is the command to run the project from outside outside the editor. Sorry for that. Okay, it is running, and suppose if we want to run it from, now we want to run it from now we want to run it from postman. Okay, so suppose we have already copied from this url and paste it in uh, postman. So we will try to run it. Okay, it's high giving, and also suppose we want to like java spring. Okay, so it's giving the output java spring appended to the welcome to the java world. Okay, so whatever the parameters we have provided, it will be appended to this. Okay, this. So microservice part is completed. Okay, now let's move ahead for deployment of this project to this microservice to Kubernetes cluster. So first of all, deployment uh, process should start. For this deployment, first of all we have to build this project. Okay, so we have already built, and then also we have to when with the build is created, then target will be generated. Target jar, like what is the jar, target jar is there. So we have it is already generated. Okay, so then we will create a docker file. uh, so docker file we can download. I have already created. I'm copying from here, and we have pasted it docker file. Okay, so when we create the docker file, so in docker file it is there in the we have pasted it in imply service, and in docker file we have to give the instruction like how to this project will run, like how this microservice will run. So in docker means we have to dockerize it, and then we have to create create it and create the image, and then this we will deploy this image in the Kubernetes cluster. So in Docker file, first of all there is an instruction like we have multiple instructions like first of all we have to provide the base image. So base image is just like it is the what is the operating system on which uh, base operating system on which this should be done, and also it what is the dependency like for Java. So we have provided the Java image like this image. So internally it this image will contain base image for operating system, and also environment for running the Java. Whatever the Java running for Java environment, it will be embedded here. Okay, so all things will be done from here, and also then we will wrapping. Okay, we are then we will wrap it with some like other instructions, other layer first of all we have to create the working directory, app directory, and then we will copy the from copy the target jar, whatever the target jar employee service, then we will copy here like first of all we have to change it employee service, employee service dot, and then here also employee service, employee service dot jar. Okay, and here we will provide the uh, port number 9007, and here also you employee service, copy it. Okay, so in the Docker file first of all we will provide the what is the base image. So base image already provided. This image is containing the uh, underlying OS, and like on which OS it will run, and then what is the Java dependency. So Java 17 dependency already embedded here. It means all the environment is here, and then we are wrapping up with the some layering. We are doing some more layering like our environment to run this image this project. So we have copied this from target jar and to employee service dot jar, and also we are exposing 9007 so that it can be done independently from outside, and also it will done on the 9007 port, and this is the entry point. So in entry point we have provided the Java jar and employee service dot jar. So whenever the image will be created, and then in when the deployment will be created and service will be created in the Kubernetes cluster, and then when it will be trying to run this image means, and container will be created, then at that point it will go directly from here entry point, and it will check that okay whatever the what is the base image and what is the like target jar, and how to, from where it will start. Then in that case it will start the from here entry point, and then container will be created. Okay, and then deployment will be created, correct, and pod will also created. So uh, this is the part this is the main part for dockerizing, and for first of all we have to create the Docker file. Okay, now let's go to uh, next go to next part. Okay, so for we have created now Docker file. Now we will have to build the image. Okay, and then it will generate the Docker image. Okay, so first of all in my system I have already explained that minikube is already there in my system. So we can check that whether minikube is running or not. So minikube status, you can check that no. So we have to start it, minikube start. Okay, it will take some time. So I have already explained that a minikube is used for Kubernetes cluster. So it will take is whatever the environment for Kubernetes cluster is required. It is already included in minikube, and we can install it. So you can also install, and then first of all, for generating the Kubernetes cluster, we have to start the minikube, and first let's wait it. Yeah, so you have seen that minikube is has started. So if we it is started, then we can check that okay minikube is started or not. We can get the status minikube uh, status. So by using this command, we can check the status minikube had started or not, and then we can we can run the any command of kubectl like then we can access. So using kubectl we can get pods. Okay, get pods. So whatever the pods or anything is running, uh, then it will be already it will show the all the pods or whatever the status like kubectl or all, and kubectl all the methods are all the methods will be we can check that. Okay, and getting the pod information or service information, deployment information, whatever. So all the information related to kubectl command, we can get that information. Okay, so now we will have to hello friends, welcome to the Technical Point channel. This is Santosh Kumar. So in the previous video we have learned how to create a Spring Boot microservice, and how to run it, and also how to uh, build it, and how to run it outside of the any editor, means from console, from terminal we can run it. Okay, so now we will have to deploy this microservice. We have created the deploy service. We have to deploy in Kubernetes cluster. So for this, first of all, we have already built. So after building, we have all it is created. We have employee service uh, dash 0.0.1 dash snapshot dot jar. It is created, and also we have dockerized it. So whatever the target jar is there, it is we have dockerized it using docker file. So in the docker file instruction, we have already mentioned that we will give the instructions to run it, to create image, and also to create the container. Okay, to run the container, and at the runtime. So now we will have to deploy it in Kubernetes cluster, so that in the Kubernetes cluster, when the deployment will run, then it will come to this point, into point, and it will container will run. Means as you know that pod contains one pod contain mainly multiple container. So that container will run. So in this case we will create one pod only, and also one container only. In that pod, one container only, and for deployment we will have to create the image. Okay, so let's go to the terminal, and as you see that mini cube status. So my in my local system my mini cube is running, and also kubectl command is also running. Okay, so using mini cube we can run the Kubernetes cluster related command in using kubectl. Okay, now we have to connect with local system with the Kubernetes cluster in minikube in this case. So for whatever the images we have created, or whatever local environment we have created, mm, and Kubernetes cluster should know which images is created in the local environment, so that when the deployment will come, when deployment will happen, then in that case the image will not be picked from GitHub. Means uh, it will by default image will be downloaded or picked from GitHub. Sorry, Docker Hub. Sorry, Docker Hub. But in this case, when we write this command like we will dollar minikube docker env, when we run this command, then minikube will understand that whatever the docker image is created in local environment, it will be picked for the deployment. Okay, so this is configured. Now we can we can deploy it. So first of all, deployment, we have to uh, go to cd. I have created already. 1 minute, I will explain. I have created cd yeah. So I have already created employee deployment.yaml. I am explaining you, and also 1 minute. So we have to create a deployment file for deploying our our application in Kubernetes cluster. For this, I have already created employee deployment.yaml and using Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here we can install plugins and Kubernetes related environment also, so that, and Docker also, so that it will give the template, it will generate the template. As for example, if you uh, want to try like Kubernetes, okay, deployment, just write, if we write the Kubernetes deployment, okay, then it will run the deployment file. Okay, it will create the template for the deployment of application, and we have to fill it. So just I have already created this file, so just I am explaining you. So here is for the sake of simplicity, I have created the two configuration, like deployment and service, in one file only. You can create a separate file for this, and and uh, in deployment, first of all we have to provide the API version. So as soon as when we create the div template, it will give the information, and here it will show that API version. So we have to mention the API apps slash v1 and kind deployment. So if we provide the kind equal to the kind is deployment, means it is saying that to saying the information that it is for deployment purpose, and we have to give the metadata like employee dash app, and we have to provide the selector in the specification selector, match level app column employee service. So this is the main thing we have to provide, and also we have to provide the template for metadata like levels we have to create, and we have to provide the specification, and in that specification we have to provide the container. Container is like whatever the container employee service, and then employee service and image we have to sorry, we have to provide the employee, we have to provide the image. So image should be like whatever the image we have created, and whatever what is the version. Okay. And service also, we have to create the service. So in that service we have to provide the API version, and then kind is service metadata we have provided, and specific selector also we have provided, a port also, and target port also we have to provide. Okay, and type is node port. Okay. So first of all, we have to dockerize our image, means we have to create the docker image. Okay. So we will have to go to create the project and docker image also. 1 minute. Then create. Yeah. So here docker image, for creating the docker image we have to build. Okay. So build this, we have already provided docker file also in the previous video, you have seen that. So just using docker file we can build the image and create the image. So first of all we have to write the command docker build dash d employee service colon v as for example v2. Okay. And dot. So if we write this command build docker build dash t is for template, and template name is like we have provided employee service, and version also, what is the version. It may be possible that multiple times we will change in this service, then we can create another version like every time, so that we can identify the previous image and current image, like whatever the updated image is there, so we can identify it. And dot is for it, the image will be created in the from means taking the reference from current directory. Like here already we have provided docker file, so what is the docker file is in the current directory, that's why we have provided it. Okay. So now we will do it. So till this build is running, I think it is running very fast. So and however if you will run it in the first time, then it will take some time, and then we will check that whether our image is created or not. So using this command docker images, so if we write this command, then employee service v2 is created. Okay. Already created. So v2 is created, and just now we have created, and it is saying that 12 seconds ago. Okay. And if we provide it mm, this image, so now we know that docker image created. Now we will have to deploy it in Kubernetes cluster. For deployment purpose we have seen that here we have to provide the mention, we have to provide the information like related to image name. So we have already image created, and v2 is the version. Okay. So here v2 is the version just created, and here image. So image name we have provided in the deployment, and also container name we have provided. Port is container port 9007, and in the service part we have mentioned that kind service we have to provide, and metadata employee service selector is also there employee that service, and ports is 9007, target port is 9007, type is we have provided node port. So port number whatever the target port, like first of all when the request will come, suppose if this service is like this application is deployed in Kubernetes cluster, employee service is deployed in Kubernetes cluster, then the request will come to the, first of all it will come to here, implies service means service side, okay, service component. And from the this is because, and also because we can call it from outside. uh, when we have provided here the type means type, we have provided the node port type, okay. But by default when we create the service, by default service will be cluster IP. So cluster IP if we provided, then it will be accessible only in the cluster only, not from outside. So that's why we have provided the node port and target port. We have to mention, we have to keep in mind that for while deployment and while creating this file, deployment file and service file, like, but here we have provided both in the same file. So while writing the code for deployment and this service, so we have to keep in mind that, and the selector should be similar. Selector should be same as here, deployment in the deployment file, in the deployment selector, match level app equal to service level. This is the same as this, okay. App colon employee service, the same name. And also what is the target port? The target port is 907. So this should be same as container port in the means from service. Target port should be same as container port. This is the main thing we have to keep in mind. Now we can run it. So we have created the deployment and also service. So and also we have mentioned that image, what is the image we have created just now. We have mentioned it, so everything is fine, okay. Now we will have to deploy it. So for deployment we have to go to file where we have written this file, okay. So it is there, document project Kubernetes cluster employee, okay. So here document project. So if we go to that here, cat, if we cat like the cat employee YAML. One minute, I think I have saved it. Okay, I will save again, and again if we write this command, ls cat employee, yeah, I forgot to save it. That's why. Now it is updated. Version V2 is saved. Previously, V1 was there. So that's why. So we can see that here the deployment is created. This is till here. From here to here, the deployment is there. So we have already provided deployment and selector and label and also container information like image information and container port also. Here also in the service part we have provided the um, service name and selector and also target port and type of the service, okay. Now we will deploy it. So for deployment we have to write the command kubectl apply dash f, and what is the name of the, yeah, name of the file is employee. So we can write employee deployment. So if we write this command, kubectl apply dash f for file, means it indicated that this is we are pointing to this file, okay. Applies the for applying the deployment, and it is created. Now if you to check that whether deployment is there or not. So by default we have not provided any namespace. So therefore we can get that all information, like get all. If we write the kubectl get all, so we can get that, okay, customer service is running now, okay, from here. Okay, Now pod is created. If you see that here, pod is created, service is also created. Service is no employee service. Okay. So first of all, pod is like employee app. This is created running, and employee service node port is there also. So it will be exposed the port number this 315585, and deployment is also created for employee here, one deployment, and also replica set also showing that employee, so one replica is there. Okay, current desired is one, current is one. So all the information related to our Kubernetes cluster, whatever the pods or services or whatever the information what we have created, we can get that from kubectl get all. Okay, so everything is fine. Now uh, now we have to run it. To run this deployment, we have to know the IP address. Okay, IP address of the minikube and Miss Kubernetes cluster in the local system, and we have to provide it, and also we have to mention the what is the port is 315585. So in my Kubernetes cluster IP address is this 168 192.168.49.2. So I am copying here http colon, and what is the port 31585 31585. Okay, and slash what is the context part. Context path is for employee controller, context path is employee. Okay, employee here, and what is the URI. URI is imp name and we pass the parameter. Sorry for that. Both Peter, we have typed to write like hello, we can provide. So I am running this application from Kubernetes cluster, and we have provided the HTTP and local IP and port. So IP address will be the Kubernetes cluster IP address, and port will be whatever the port we have during deployment of price service. What is the port we have mentioned here in the service part. It will expose the port and 31585, and what is the context path of the employee controller and URI. Okay, now we will run it. Yeah, it is running. So we can suppose we can provide another information like Docker, Kubernetes, so whatever the information we have provided, it is running, and from the postman. So just it will be running, and everything is fine. From we have just keep in mind that you have to run from IP address from the Kubernetes cluster, and then uh, in the local system Kubernetes cluster whatever the IP address, and what is the IP sorry, what is the port number exposed, and rest will be same. Whatever the here, rest will be same in the browser. Okay, in the browser just we have to in browser we have provided that local host 9007, and here like Docker. So it is running Docker, but for running the Kubernetes cluster, means our application in Kubernetes cluster, we have to provided here. We have provided here like this. Okay. So everything is fine. Uh, So what I have done, I will revise it. Just keep in mind, for just recap whatever I have done. Okay. So first of all, we have created the employee service. In the employee service, we have created the employee controller, and we have created an API like one URI, API imp name and name, and we have provided the whatever the information risk controller request mapping and in the means context path, whatever the service, whatever the information provided. Uh, I have explained. Okay. Now after that we have run it directly. So it was running fine. Now we have to now I have build it. So using for building we have run the command mvn clean install. Okay. For building using mvn clean install we have this from using this command we have built it, and to run it from outside and also creating the jar. This is the jar after building, and this mvn clean install it, this jar is created, and also we have run it using command using command mvn spring boot colon run. So it is this this service is employee service is run from outside of the uh, from outside like we can run it from terminal also, or from uh, like console, in microsoft console is there, so from there also we can run it. Okay. From so we have run it. Now now we have dockerized it. So in this jar is created, so we have created for uh, dockerizing. So we have created the created docker file, and whatever the information like from keyword from and whatever the image it is, this is a base image for java 17, and it contains all the all the environment for running the java application, spring boot of java application. Sorry. So whatever the information we have provided in the base image, it contains the runtime environment for Java 17, and also it contains the base image or base OS. Okay. And then we have wrapped it using a working directory app, and we have copied the current jar to this here, and then client service dot jar, and also we have exposed to 9007, so that any from outside, if anyone can call it, so it while creating the container, like image will be created, uh, then it will be exposed to outside, exposed to anything like 907 is exposed, so any this application can be done on 9007. Okay. And then entry point is there, we have provided java jar employee service. So we have provided, so when the image will be created, and then when we dockerize it, and then after that the deployment, when we deploy it in Kubernetes cluster, so the pod will be created. So here the pod is created already. Okay. Employee service pod is employee app pod is created. In that pod there is one container, employee pod is there, employee container will be there, and like if you like if you write docker ps docker ps grep, we write provide the grep employee. Okay. This is the listed the test yeah. Okay. This container is running. Okay. In that pod, in this pod one container is running. Okay. One container is running, and then it will for running actual running of the application, it will go to here, and it will run this application, spring boot application. Okay. And when for running that, for dockerizing and deployment purpose, we have whatever we have done, we have first of all we have build it. So for building we have we have mentioned the command, uh, yeah, docker build dash t. We have provided the command docker build dash t employee service colon v2 and dot. So using this command, this build the image will be built and image will be created. Okay, so the T is for tag name, whatever the name we can provide it, and this is the version number, and this is the current directory. And when we write the docker images, so employee service v2 image docker image is created, and then we have created the employed deployment, means deployment and as well as service. So deployment we have to provide kind and metadata and selector name we have provided, and also app name, also level app also provided, and here the container is also provided. We have provided the image name also, and also image the what is the exact image and what is the version number. So what is the version number we have provided, v2. Okay, and we have given the information like service. So service also we have provided the selector employee service, and kind services we have provided, and metadata also provided, and target port and target port, and type in node port. I have already explained that it can be for running outside, from outside, node port is we have to provide it. And just keep in mind that target ports should be same as container port, and also selector should be same as this match level. Okay, and for running from outside we have provided node port. And when we when we create the deployment, for deployment purpose, uh, we have written the command kubectl apply dash f is f4, this 4 file, and pointing this file in the currently it is in current directory. So employees deployment dot yaml, and it will, when it will done, then it will successfully done, then deployment and service is created. So we have, when we have written the command kubectl get all, then it will done, it will create the pod, and it will also create the service, employee service, and it will create the deployment and also replica set. Okay, here deployment is created, and this is the replica set also created. Okay, and also when we pod in one pod, we can multiple container, but we have created only one pod, one container in one pod only, means one pod, one container only. Okay, so one container in one pod, this pod is there. And when we write the docker ps print, so it is, this container is running. Okay, and when we run it from postman, so we have provided the 192.168, like this is the Kubernetes cluster IP address, and this is the port whatever we have exposed. This employee service is exposing the port of 31585, so we have to mention this. And whatever the information, rest will be same. This is the URL. Okay, URL of the API. And then when we run it like this, it is running. If we provided, if we change like anything, any information, so it is giving the output, the required output. So everything is fine. Okay, so that's it. No, now I am done. Please, if you like my video, then please like and subscribe. Okay, and we will meet in next video. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for anything I have mistaken, or I have done some mistake or something. Sorry for that. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.